I welcome you guys all today. I'm a life coach. I am somebody who's actually a motivational coach every single day. I'm always performing every single day on the street over here, making sure I can improve my communication skills. You may have seen me before doing it. You have to understand that every single day you must be motivated. You must understand that life is great. I mean, do you agree? Do you agree that life is great today? If you don't understand that, you have to understand that life is great. I promise you, anybody who understands that life is great today is somebody who can be greatness, or else they can be something amazing, or else they can understand how to be fluent and also communicate daily. You have to understand it's really about communication skills all day long. Understand that those who actually speak all day long have something to say. I always have something to say because I understand Jesus Christ. I understand that's why I go back to my eye. I understand that's why I'm always performing on the street. I understand that's why I'm always public speaking and always improving myself along the way. I understand every single day I realize every single day I come on the street over here and I do a public speaking event. I understand that's why my communication skills is growing all the time, because I'm doing it in front of people and I'm not afraid to promote my name, to make my name something great every single day. I understand that when you look at Nikola Tesla and you look at Albert Einstein, you understand what I'm doing today. You understand? Because that's great legacy and that's where I'm heading for. But I'm going above that. I'm going above that in life. I'm going toward Jesus' legacy today. And saying I'm going something amazing. I'm going and making sure that everybody can do it because I can do it. I understand that when you know your I principle, or it's very important that you understand that you must grow yourself every single day so you can always communicate. You have to understand that communication is key, but understand to believe in thyself. Understand when you believe in thyself, you're always going to find something to do. You're always going to find yourself worthy. You're always going to find something that you need to do today, and it's something that you need to grow in. You have to understand, you have to find those ideas. You have to understand that if you want a business module, otherwise it's called communication skills. So anybody who's willing to read every single day something about communication daily is somebody who's ready to public speak. You have to understand that eventually you have to do some public speaking in order for yourself to grow. You have to understand that if you want to be a communicator and the best salesperson in the planet in terms of divine nature, because we're all divine beings, you have to understand you have to learn how to communicate. You have to understand that communication is how you look today, and it's how you eat, and it's how you dress, and it's how you look in terms of your life. You have to understand every single day it's also about what you're reading, and about what you're eating, and also about how much are you giving. Otherwise, communication skills is called in terms of it is, are you somebody who has a YouTube channel or not? Otherwise, if you have no YouTube channel today, you have no communication skills then. I promise you it's that simple, because YouTube channel is something new. So we're not living in the Hercules days where there's no YouTube channel going on. Understand that, please. Understand that social media today is something new, and you have to go and recognize it, and you have to be much greater in it. You have to understand you have to learn video and audio right now. You have to learn how to write. You have to learn how to read. You have to learn everything under the blue stars today. Where is the blue stars? The blue stars is in the moment. I see all colors today. You have to understand that either way, that every day is colorful. Every day is a rainbow. I see a rainbow today everywhere around I. Understand? I realize that every single color in the universe must be you. You must understand how to be proactive, and understanding how key is honestly logical every single day. To understand that when you're calling yourself something, you just make sure you never call upon it. You just make sure you're calling yourself every single day to be greatness. Understand that's why I show up on the street. Understand that's why I go and just grow myself. Understand that before I came here, I sense God. I sense actual God inside of me, and it's inside of I. Understand that God comes inside of I and lifts me up, and I start walking, and everything's so much easier to grab along. Understand that when you have a power or a force that goes inside of you, and you just feel so much stronger. Otherwise, that's called God. Otherwise, that's God. You have to understand, anything that's God is what lifts you up. And anything that's really growing is called God. You understand? So realize every single day, you have to understand the I intent, which is making sure you're growing in thy name. What kind of thy name are you talking about? Otherwise, I'm talking about the I. I'm talking about the you. I'm talking about the questions. You have to understand that when you have the IUQ rule here, you understand that I is very important. You understand that if you want to communicate daily, you have to understand to sometimes start with the you in action. You, sir, must understand that if you don't give some ideas today, how are you going to be successful today? I started a sentence with my you today. I understand, sir, that if you don't give some ideas today, how are you going to be successful? Are you successful, sir? I mean, that's what communication is. You have to understand that every single day I communicate and communicate and communicate because I understand what logical is. I understand what common sense is. I understand what theory is. I understand what action is. I understand what you are. I understand what EQ is. I understand what emotional quotient and emotional intelligence is. Otherwise, EQ and IQ is called growth. So if you can grow in your IQ today, I mean, please do. I mean, if you're growing, you're also doing EQ too. Otherwise, anything that's EQ and IQ must be communication skills. So anybody who understands how to really develop their habits every single day and have a better schedule and also be much greater than yesterday are ones who can actually succeed daily and are ones who actually can motivate people to communicate daily and also to make sure that they are foundational in empathy and also leadership and making sure they have mindset and making sure they have everything they ever need to succeed. Otherwise, you have more resources today than ever before to succeed, much greater than yesterday. So make sure you understand that the millennial is here. I mean, we're at the beginning of the millennial. You understand? I mean, the beginning of the internet age is the millennial in 2000. I mean, that's the beginning of internet. I mean, we are all here. So guess what? Otherwise, in the next 2,000 years, I mean, the internet's still the way to go. I mean, you have to understand, in 5,000 years and in 5 million years, I mean, the internet's still around. You understand? So anybody who's leading right now in terms of internet age and who's an influencer now, they're at the beginning of the peak of internet. You understand? So understand that if you understand anything about social media, you understand to be a social influencer today. I mean, what's social influencing? I mean, it's called public speaking, or it's called communication, or it's called your face. Or if you're not taking photos of your face, I mean, that means you must be loving your son more, or your daughter more, or your father more, in terms of your biological parents. I mean, you must be loving somebody else more than your face then. I mean, I take a lot of photos of my face. You understand? I'm a fashion model. I have over 11,000 photos of myself on Instagram right now. I mean, go and check it out. But in 20 years' time, I'll have 100,000 photos and more of myself. You understand? Because I'll keep always developing my eye. I'll keep making sure that I can always take more photos of myself and do more videos of myself and do more audios of myself every single day because I understand what's important. I understand it's my face. I understand that when I look at my face, I love myself more. So I take more photos of myself, I do more videos of myself, I do more audios of myself, and that's how I grow. I understand when I grow in social tendencies. I make sure I'm a social media influencer. I make sure that I understand that internet and everything in terms of the phones that we have today is still early. You have to understand that just 30 years in the making is the iPhone, and it's also the Samsung, and it's also the phones that you see. Or it's all 30 years in the making right now. I mean, it's only been 30 years. You understand? I mean, understand greatness and understand to use that. And to understand that I record myself and I put myself on YouTube right now. Because in 50 billion years from today, I mean, they're going to watch me. You understand? I mean, they're going to watch me online. Because guess what? Or else in Jesus' time, or else they didn't have a phone. Or else they didn't have YouTube channels. I mean, they didn't have Netflix. I mean, they didn't have a phone in Jesus' times. So be grateful, please. I mean, be grateful that you have a phone, and be grateful that you have music production skills in terms of technology today where you can create music. I mean, go and learn some music. You got so much education and knowledge today. You have free libraries today to go get yourself a book and to read. I mean, back in Jesus' times, I promise you, there's no books about the library. I mean, there's no libraries back in the days. I mean, there's no libraries full of books in the days back in the past. You understand? So realize a library and what that can do for you. Or else anything that's a library is something that's or else it's called a memory. Or else anything that's a library today is called a memory in terms of memories. You have to understand that when you have memories, you also be calling it memories in terms of you understand that history is all memories. So your history today is your past, but the history is now. You understand? Or else anything that's history is still today. You understand? Or else it's how we're learning. Or else it's how we're growing. You have to understand that anything that's a memory today must be better. You must have better memories. You must understand to live more. You have to understand that anybody who's living more every single day is somebody who's very inspirational. Or else that when I live more and more, or else I'll also outlive you. I'll also outgrow you. I'll also have more than you. Because how am I doing that? Or else I'm getting up on social media. I'm making sure I'm doing some influencing today. Because it's not the old age anymore. Or else it's a new age. Or else you have to understand that anyway, that anything that's classical today is the phone. So when you use it and put your face on it and start recording yourself, I realize that's the most classical way. I realize there's nothing much more fashionable than that in life. I realize it's called be on a TV show and watch yourself. I realize just watch yourself all day long. I realize it's making sure they understand that everything that's happening today, you have your own TV channels on YouTube, you have your own social media today, you can go and become somebody very fast. I mean, it's very quick. You have to understand that 72 years to go in my life and more than that, you have to understand that I plan to live to 100 years of age. You have to understand that I'm a vegan right now. So for the next 72 years, I'm a vegan. I never have to cook. I never have to clean anything other than the dishes in terms of my one food bowl that I have, and also my cutlery and myself in my eye. I understand that either way. I understand that I never microwave my food, I never toast my food, I never need a refrigerator, I never need a plasma screen TV. I never go to the cinema to watch a movie anymore. You understand? Because I have Netflix and I watch the nice beautiful thumbnails on Netflix. I just watch the thumbnails. I don't even watch the audio in the Netflix. I just watch the whole series of Star Trek in 1 hour. I just watch the images because that's what I remember. I remember images, but the words in the film I never remember. You understand? I realize what I remember is Jesus' Bible and what it teaches me every single day. I realize that, yes, because that's information driven. So anywhere that you go where it's information driven daily, you understand that you're going to become something like Jesus Christ. You're going to become something that's really much more than yesterday. You're going to become something that's really worth it. I understand when I have my eyes in place, I understand it's my eye that really counts. I understand it's really that you understand that nobody can really be blind in life. Otherwise, nobody can be really deaf. Otherwise, deaf people have feelings. Otherwise, as long as you're able to feel and breathe, you're never deaf. Otherwise, I can see you, I'm not deaf. Otherwise, if I'm ever blind, I'm never blind. Or they realize that blind people also can communicate. Or else they can talk. Or else they have feelings. You understand? Or else feelings can see everything. You understand? So there's no excuses. But understand the wicked always lead the wicked. And the blind lead the blind. You have to understand that anybody who's blind doesn't see. You understand? I mean, what do they see? I mean, they don't see themselves. I mean, they don't see themselves as great. I mean, they don't see themselves as great in a way that they can help you. I can help you. That's why I'm public speaking. Otherwise, if you can help somebody today, you can also public speak it. Otherwise, now you have to start. You have to start somewhere. You have to start on YouTube. You have to start on social media. You have to understand that it's the way to go today. You have to understand it's either start on social media or YouTube, or go in the yellow pages, and then go in the newspaper, and then go on a TV show. Otherwise, that's the old way. You don't need other people, you just need yourself every single day to understand that you must be someone much more daily to understand what it is about really making yourself much stronger, and it's called I. Understand I principle every single day, understand what the I is. I is everything. I understand when I have my I, I'm always growing, I'm always making sure I'm developing, because that's what I do daily. I make sure to go do it in front of people because it's easy. Otherwise, it's easy to be in front of people and public speak. You just have to keep practicing. Otherwise, the same way Djokovic, in terms of Novak Djokovic, wins the Australian Opens, and he won over 7 over 8. You have to understand, otherwise, no matter what, I understand that Djokovic won around 7 Australian Opens. Otherwise, the guy's a champion because he practices to be a champion. You have to understand that if you want to be a champion, you have to grow yourself. Otherwise, that's why Djokovic can win these Australian Opens, and also that's why he always makes sure to be healthier and to make sure that he's learning something and growing. Otherwise, that either way, you must understand that who around you is teaching Jesus Christ today. I mean, those who are teaching Jesus Christ today are the ones who are more great. They're more great, and they're also going to be leading much more than the rest of the crowd. You understand? Otherwise, anybody around you who doesn't have Jesus Christ in their life and doesn't speak about Jesus Christ and hates Jesus Christ, otherwise, they are the ones you must stay away from. You must stay away from those guys and women. You understand? Because they have no learning capacity. I mean, they don't like Jesus Christ in life. I mean, if they don't like Jesus Christ, I mean, it means they don't like you either. I mean, if you hate Jesus Christ, I mean, it means you hate the world then. You don't hate Jesus Christ, you don't hate anybody in life. And that's period. You're not meant to hate people. You're meant to love everything. Understand that everything in life must inspire you or nothing. I'm always inspirational every single day. I'm always inspiring myself the most in my eye. Understand that when I look at myself in the mirror every single day, I see someone really great. I see someone who's really greatness. I understand in your eyes that is not true. But guess what? I realize in my eye, I'm true. I'm true in my eye. I never need you to call me great. I can see it already. I understand that every single day I stand up and do a nice, beautiful performance. I understand that's why I'm growing. I understand that's why I go back to the I. I understand that's why I'm much more important than everything. I understand that's why I'm always growing myself. I understand that's the only key and the solution of life, which is growth. I understand I connect the words together through my I, you, and question mark. You understand? Because I ask you questions. I start with the you in action. I have my I factor. I understand that's how I speak daily. I realize that's how I do life. I realize that's how I really understand what I'm doing daily, because that's called motivational. Whereas anybody that's motivational also is a motivation. You understand? I realize my turns today are motivating you. I realize it's called public speaking. In terms of public speaking is what I'm doing right now. I'm a public speaker. I realize that anything that's calling you to public speak is I. I'm always calling you to public speak. I understand that is what I'm doing right now, which is communication, and which is growth, and which is an idea, and which is one step, and which is business, and which is greatness, and which is Jesus Christ, and which is everything in terms of brainstorming and making sure that you have prosperous ideas every single day, and making sure you have health and freedom and the courage to do so. You have to understand that if you have the courage to walk today, you can also have the courage to public speak, and it's really that simple. Otherwise, how you're walking today is how I'm speaking. Otherwise, it's so easy. You understand? But you have to practice. Otherwise, you practicing, you're walking for how long now? I mean, you're walking today. Otherwise, how long have you been practicing? Otherwise, that's how long I'll be practicing my public speaking. You understand? Otherwise, that's how simple it is to be great every single day. You understand? So if you've been walking for 60 years, I'll be also public speaking for the next 60 years. I plan to live for the next 72 years or more. You understand? So either way, you have me around, so make sure your kids are watching me. You understand? I mean, make sure you're following me for the next 72 years, because I'll be a mentor. I'll be somebody who's guiding you. I'll be somebody who's here for you to make sure you're growing. I'll be somebody motivating you for the next 72 years. So make sure you understand Danny Milivojevic. You understand? You have to understand who that is. You have to understand who Jesus Christ is. You have to understand yourself. You have to understand what this is. Otherwise, it's called I. Otherwise, everything you see today is happening because of I. Otherwise, it's happening for you. You understand? Because there's nothing else to that. Otherwise, it's not happening for somebody else. Otherwise, this audio content is happening for you today, so that you can learn and so that you can grow. Otherwise, what you see today is happening for you. Otherwise, now I'm here to grow, and you, otherwise, you, ladies and gentlemen, are here for me, so that you can give me something based on what you're doing today, because everybody's walking around me and giving me you're all giving me a signal and a message today about how I communicate. Otherwise, I understand that when I communicate, I'm also understanding that I'm here to grow everything. Otherwise, everything happens for you. Otherwise, everything happens for I. Understand? Otherwise, that's how we grow. Otherwise, we grow as a team. Otherwise, we grow as communication. Otherwise, we grow as leadership quality every single day. You have to understand that I'm always doing that for I, regardless. I'm making sure that every single day I always have what I need. I understand that every single day I'll go into my nice, beautiful dictionary, which is my I. I just start to really, really understand to go and speak my I out much more every single day, and to go and communicate daily, and also look at people along the way and how people are talking and how people are doing and how people understand I. I understand that when I come across as a much greater individual, I understand that's why I'm growing. I understand that the most important aspect of life today is that I grow. I understand I have to say something that's really going to help me to connect the IUQ rule that I use, which is my I and you and question. I go and make sure that I grow every single day in that beautiful facade, which is growth. Because growth is a facade too. Although guess what? So is lying. Otherwise lying is a facade. Otherwise cheese is a facade. Otherwise this world is a facade too. Otherwise everything is a facade. But what is the word facade? Otherwise a facade doesn't mean anything. Otherwise what means the world is I. Otherwise I is everything. I am everything in this life. I am all the words in that dictionary. You understand? Because that's what I am. Otherwise I is everything. So when you understand I simplification in your life, you understand why you can really live life. You understand why you can also do anything and rhyme any kind of word together and make sure it's better than yesterday all the time. Because don't get confused on words. I mean, the only word of God is I. I mean, that's all you actually really live in terms of life. You only live I. You don't live a facade. You don't live any other type of lifestyle except I. I understand that when I go into communication, I go lift people through it. I lift people through different ways of speaking and communication and everything. I understand that no matter what, I'm so passionate that I never have to drink my soy milk to come and do my nice, beautiful public speaking program. Because guess what? All right, I understand it makes me look weak to drink soy milk, but guess what? You have to eat food and drink. You understand? I came here, I have to sit down and drink a soy milk before I have a public speaking program. And guess what? I still didn't do that. Because I'm so passionate to come and do my public speaking program that I just delayed the soy milk altogether. You understand? And I just come do my public speaking program. Because I understand I'm very hungry now. I'm very hungry for success. I understand that every single day I love to drink a soy milk before my public speaking program. I realized that this day, in terms of today, I didn't have that opportunity. But guess what? I realized that I have a better opportunity here. I have a better opportunity here, which means I'm here and I'm much more passionate. I realize I'm much more passionate than before because I don't need to eat food and drink to do public speaking. You have to understand that's why I am something much more, because I understand I can delay gratification, I can delay the soy milk, I can delay Coca-Cola and Fanta and the cigarette, I can delay everything. You understand? I'm very strong like that. I can delay drugs. I don't need drugs. I don't need it to succeed. I don't need you in my life. I just need I every single day. I just need I. I don't need anybody else except I. Whereas I understand that when I live my life, I'm living it much greater every single day. I don't need anybody else except I. Whereas it's that simple. I understand that no matter what, you must never be offended about life. You must understand that if you're offended, or else you never be offending other people. Or else if you're offending other people, it means you're hurting them. And if you're hurting them, or else it means you're hurting yourself. I mean, make sure that you're never hurting yourself in the first place. So if you're never hurting yourself, you're never hurting the individual in I. I mean, I love you. I mean, never ever hurt your I, because the I can never hurt itself. I mean, the I can never die. I have a nice, beautiful conversation with myself, and I recently just spoke about this, which is nice and different, although guess what? I realize I understand when I speak differently, I understand I'm always much more mature. I understand that when I go and do something, I'm always revising the Bible of Jesus Christ. I'm always revising what's happening and what's going on. I came to a revelation. I understand that Jesus Christ was on the cross. And guess what? I realize that those who put him on the cross, I mean, they went to sleep. I mean, they went to sleep while Jesus Christ is on the cross at night time. You understand? Because guess what? I realize Jesus Christ didn't die a slow. I realize Jesus Christ didn't die a fast death. I realize Jesus Christ died a slow death. I realize now, what's a slow death in life? I realize anything that's a slow death is like somebody who has cancer, and then for 15 years, I realize they're just passing away for 15 years. I realize now death is called passing away. I realize you never die in this world. You can never die. You can just pass away. You have to understand that Jesus Christ never died. I realize Jesus Christ has the Bible and the wisdom right here to give you. So Jesus Christ is never dead. But understand that Jesus Christ did pass away. And now, how did Jesus Christ pass away? I realize they put him on the cross, and guess what? I realize that on that day, I realize they're watching Jesus Christ on the cross, and then guess what? I realize it gets nighttime, doesn't it? I realize what did they do? I realize they left Jesus Christ on the cross during the nighttime. I realize Jesus Christ went in, and Jesus Christ is doing it himself. Although guess what? I realize that the Pharisees and those people who put him up on the cross went into the houses. And where is the house? I realize the house is inside the body. Although they are living in the outside world. Because they are somebody who dislike Jesus Christ. Although understand that they went to sleep. You're saying, I mean, how can you sleep once you're putting Jesus Christ on the cross? I mean, how can you sleep? You can never sleep. So they went to sleep while Jesus Christ is at nighttime on the cross. I mean, what's Jesus doing in nighttime on the cross? I mean, he's saying, thank you, God, that you guys gave me sleep. In terms of that you guys gave me peace and that you guys went away from me so I can enjoy my refreshing air over here. Because guess what? Or else at night time it can be cold as well. So imagine Jesus Christ on the cross during night time in terms of 2 in the morning, and all the people that put him on the cross are sleeping with their wives in their houses. But it's not their house. You have to understand that this world is not your house. You understand? You have a better home in yourself. Whereas anything that's an inner world today is something much great than the outside world. Whereas that's not my house. You can live in there, but guess what? You're living here. You have to live in here. Whereas here is where I'm talking about. Whereas the house is really here. Whereas the house that I'm talking about is the inner world. Whereas that's where you're living all the time. You're never living outside. Whereas if you're trying to live outside, you're reaching for scraps of pleasure like cigarettes, and you're actually going for the drugs, you're going for alcohol, you're going for other people, because you're looking to live outside of yourself. You can never live outside of yourself. You can only live inside. Alright, now I'm talking with myself here about Jesus Christ. Understand that Jesus Christ is on the cross during the night time and he may be cold. Understand Jesus Christ is saying, thank you that you guys gave me peace today and that you're not around me because I can be alone. Understand? So how did Jesus Christ pass away? Jesus Christ passes away through making sure that he doesn't breathe. So you have to understand that if I cut off your head today and you start to breathe still, I mean, you're still alive, aren't you? Or is that anything that's really passing away is not breathing anymore. So when you don't breathe in this lifetime, you really cease to exist. So if you cut off my head today and I start to breathe still, or else I can imagine myself holding my head today over here because somebody chopped off my head. Because guess what? I'm never anything that's dying because I understand that no matter what, I never die. And I understand that I'm never getting my head chopped off. I understand either way that I understand that when I live my life and you're holding your head, I mean, you can play dodgeball with your head and you're still breathing. You're still breathing while you're playing dodgeball with your head. I mean, you're still alive. I mean, you have to understand that no matter what, I mean, as long as you're breathing in this lifetime, you are somebody who's still alive. So even if I cut off your head today and you're still breathing with no head on your head, in terms of where your neck area is, you understand you're still breathing? I mean, you're still alive. But understand that anything that passes away today is not breathing. Understand that, for example, my grandfather, for example, understand that he had cancer, or else that cancer doesn't hurt him, or else the cancer cannot hurt him. You understand? Or else that what happens is, or else he gets weaker. I understand he gets weaker, and that's a calling. Or else it's an actual calling to pass away now. So what happens? Or else he starts to walk and everything, and he can do his life just like anybody else. But he has cancer and you don't. Or else he just lives life just like you. But understand that he's getting weaker over time because of the cancer. And now the cancer's making him weaker and weaker and weaker. And then suddenly, guess what happens? Or else he comes to a resolution. Or else he comes to a nice beautiful epiphany, or a nice beautiful metaphor, or a nice beautiful idea that he's passing away. Or else he actually realizes that is how you do it. Or else he understands how to die now. Understand that when you die a slow death. You understand you're dying. You understand that you're getting weaker. You understand that eventually that you will not breathe in this lifetime. You can see that coming. You can see through the weakness. You can see through the energy that you have. So the more energy you have in this lifetime, I promise you that you'll never die. You understand? But if you have no energy, you're eventually on the bed. And you're just dazing off. You're dazing off. You're going into mystery land. And then what happens? You're just going away now. You're going away, and then suddenly you pass away. I mean, how is that? I mean, you have to understand, that's how it is. Although suddenly you just pass away, don't you? And how did you pass away? You stop breathing. You understand? Or else you stop breathing when you pass away, or else now throughout life, or else people get sick. And then throughout the passing away is what? Or else that it can be for decades that you're passing away. Or to understand that as soon as you get the symptom that you're getting weaker and weaker and weaker, or else that's called the passing away of your life. I mean, you're going into a better world. You understand? Or else anybody who's passing away can see it before it even happens. Or else eventually it happens that through your energy, you're so weak to even walk. You understand you're passing away. You understand? Or else now you're passing away, but you're not dying. You're not dying. You're just going into a better world. Because guess what? I understand that Jesus Christ can never die. I can never die. I mean, how can you kill the letter I? You can never kill the letter I. Otherwise, now, if you come up to me and you start stabbing me in the leg and the neck, you'll never kill me. You'll never kill my eye. You can never take it away from me. You can never take my I love you. You can never take my eye away. You can try to kill me, whereas now you can try to kill me and I still will not die. You understand? I can still not die. You understand? Whereas now, how am I never dying? Because my eye can never be cut out. You can never cut out my eye. Or else my eye can live here forever. I understand that Noah from the Bible lives 800 years. You understand? Because the eye. Or else the eye is what keeps him alive. You understand? So either way, I understand that when you're passing away, or else what happens is you start to daze off. You start to daze off more and more and more, and then suddenly you don't reach for the air anymore. You don't reach for the air anymore. You're just dazing off. You just fell into unconsciousness, and you actually pass away then. Understand? But that's natural, or else it's a natural death, isn't it? That's a slow death. Or else now, what's a fast death? Or else now, a fast death is now you have a heart attack in front of me. Or else now your body's shaking. You get it? Or else your body's actually shaking. Or else now you can feel your heart is in pain, and your heart is actually hurting. And now you just go on the floor and you're dazed off. You are not breathing anymore. That's called a fast death. You get it? Because suddenly you have a heart attack. Understand? Or else when you have a heart attack suddenly, or else that's called a fast death. Or else now, did Jesus have a heart attack? Or else Jesus didn't have a heart attack. Or else Jesus passed away slowly. Understand? So when you have a heart attack, you have to understand that the ego is not I. You understand? Anything that has an ego has what? Or else has no I. Or else now, even the I has an ego. You understand? Or else the I itself has an ego. But you have to understand to stay with the I and stay really curious about your I every single day. But understand this. Understand that as you may do anything in your life, you have to understand that no matter what, that eventually you can see when you're going to pass away. You can see it before it even happens. And then you're just natural about it. You're natural about the passing away of your life. You're happier that you are getting weaker. You're happier that you're going to be passing away now. I promise you. I promise you, you'll see it. You'll see it coming. You see it coming 10 years before. And you say that I am not going outside anymore into the shops. So I'll get somebody else to do that for me because I understand that I get weaker sometimes. Understand? So realize either way that you can get weaker over time as you age. Understand? So you realize that a 100-year-old, in terms of a 100-year young man or woman, is not able to run 100 kilometers. You understand? Because they're weaker over time. You understand? So they start doing less with more. You understand? Or they start doing more with less. You understand? Or they start to be in the house more than they start to walk around. You understand? Because they have less energy. You understand? So that's a calling that you're passing away now. You understand? So either way, understand this. I use the 1 hour rule, which states I stay indoors for 23 hours of the day. I stay indoors for 23 hours of the day, and 1 hour I just may walk around to go shopping and to get new clothing, and also to never have a coffee, but to just go and get my food and drinks. And then I just make sure that 23 hours of the day I stay indoors. I'm always staying indoors though. I'm always making sure that I have my I in 10. Otherwise now, if you try to go outside, you can go outside with the I, U, and Q rule. You can actually understand that the I, U, Q rule means don't cut your eye out. Understand that if you want to go and live out there somewhere, you go with the I, and you understand that you can do it. You can also understand that communication skills is really easy to understand, and you can be really fluent when you communicate more and more. Because anybody who falls into drugs is lacking communication skills. And now, if you're lacking communication skills, otherwise it means that you're lacking confidence. Otherwise now, Les Brown, for example, otherwise now, during his 50th year, you understand that he is motivational. Otherwise now, in the next 30 years, otherwise he's fatter than before. Why is he fatter than before? Because you understand that he is lacking communication skills. You understand? And even though he's a motivational public speaker, I understand he's lacking communication skills to improve his weight class. You understand? Because anybody who improves has more communication skills. You understand? Otherwise now, that's all you need to do. You have to understand that communication skills is also learning and reading. And it's also having more energy. So do whatever it takes to have more energy. And you have to understand and realize this, that veganism is the way to go for energy. I have veganism in my blood right now. You have to understand that I have so much energy because I'm living longer and longer and longer throughout time. You have to understand that I never have to eat anything in the morning to come here and do my public speaking event, because guess what? I'm really full of energy when I wake up. I never have to eat or drink when I wake up. I never have to eat and drink right away. But guess what? I delay the food and drink as much as I can. And then I come and do my street performance without eating or drinking. Because I fast. I delay gratification. You understand? So when I delay gratification, I come here and I'm very hungry. I'm very hungry to succeed. You understand? Because I didn't eat. I didn't drink. And I come here and do my public speaking program, such as today, for example. And it's the first time. But guess what? Either way, I understand that no matter what, I have a nice, beautiful talk with myself. I understand that no matter what, that I can see the Bible. I can see that God is real. I can see that Jesus is real. I understand that Jesus, or else that they never recovered his body. Or else it says it in the Bible. I understand that when they opened the tomb of Jesus Christ, or else they never found Jesus Christ's body. I mean, where's Jesus Christ? I mean, he died in the tomb. Or else information does not lie. You have to understand that information does not lie. But guess what? Or else either way, I understand I went on YouTube, or else that there's 20 hours of Jesus Christ images on YouTube, and there's all these movies about Jesus Christ. I went on YouTube and I go and watch all the images of those films. I just scroll over a 6-hour film of Jesus Christ, and I see all the images of that film. And that's more than enough to understand what and how the life of Jesus Christ went. Because I can see it in the images. I can understand that when I live my life, I understand that nobody can destroy you. I understand that you must understand every single day to learn and grow. I understand that those who are really arrogant are not learning. I understand I see many people who are arrogant today. I see them so much, but I understand that they do not know themselves. Or else they do not know the I of their life. Or else it's very easy to use the I. I understand as long as you can use the I, you can do much greater. But I see many people walking like zombies because they don't know themselves. I'm already awake, you understand? I understand that you guys who are watching me today, understand that you will understand my future in the moments. You understand that no matter what, that my legacy will be passed down. And I understand that no matter what, that I'm always looking at the Bible and I'm transcribing it in my video. I'm transcribing everything from the Bible into English of modern day life. Understand? So everybody can understand that no matter what, it's very easy to understand language. I mean, what's the first letter of the alphabet in life? I mean, it's I. I love you. You understand? I is the first letter of the alphabet all the time. You understand? Otherwise, it's not ABC. Otherwise, it's I, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Otherwise, it's I, A, B, C, F, G. You understand? So either way, understand that life doesn't start with A, or otherwise life starts with I. You get it? You have to understand that every single day I'm always doing much better. I'm always making sure that every single day that you are also making sure that you're accountable. I'm making sure that everybody else is accountable. I'm making sure that everybody else from that point is accountable. Because I understand that what's important is ideas. And now understand that either way, that life is easy, or else life is never hard. Or else now, those who make life hard are the ones who don't have the I. Or else I have I in my life. I have the I. I have my I. Or else now, because I have my I, or else life is easy. Understand that anybody who's making their life hard doesn't have discipline. Or else anybody who has an easy life is living their I. And they are very disciplined. And they're disciplined in themselves to live life in the I. I understand that either way, that now I can speak communication skills in a different way, and I can always up my class in terms of how I speak about accommodation and also the outside world and everything. I understand that I can go to you and I can lift you up with my I. I understand I'll never die. I can call somebody who's never going to call me back. I can keep calling them because I have my I. I'll never lose my I. Whereas now, I can call you 1 billion times and you don't have to record me back. I can still increase my confidence. You understand? Because I have my I. I don't need you to lift my confidence. You understand? So realize that every single day, that no matter what you're doing daily, you must understand that in the Bible, it says that Moses came before Jesus. And then when Moses came here, you have to understand that the story of Moses is that they placed Moses in terms of his mother. Put Moses on the river. You understand? And the baby on the river, that's floating on the river, is Moses. You get it? You have to understand that Moses created the 10 commandments of life in God. Or as God came to Moses and said, this is the 10 commandments of life, before Jesus came into life. You understand? Or as the 10 commandments of life happens before Jesus Christ. You understand? So realize that when Jesus Christ comes here, or as the 10 commandments are already here. You understand? So understand that no matter what, that Noah is the descendants of Adam and Eve. Or as we are all descendants of Noah. But understand that anything that happens before Noah in life, you understand Adam and Eve. You understand Adam and Eve eventually die and pass away. And guess what happens? Or as that God sweeps the world with water and destroys everything, but leaves Noah on the ship with his family. And that's how everything is born today. Through Noah, or as we're Noah's descendants. You understand? Because everything that the world is on the ark with Noah and his family. And that's where we come from now. You understand? But Noah comes from Adam and Eve. You understand? So either way, or else now, to have humans in this world, or else we have to have a woman and a man. You have to understand that their names are not Adam and Eve. Or else that's just a label. Or else we just call them Adam and Eve. Or else their names are not Noah. Or else their names are not Adam and Eve. Or else their names are I. Or else everything is I. You have to understand that either way, you have to understand that Mary is a human being. And she's born through a human being. And now, Jesus Christ is somebody who's born in a virgin. You understand? So understand that Jesus Christ never has a father other than the godly Father of eternal life. So no human man made Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ shows up in Mary's belly. You understand? Without somebody or like a man to create Jesus Christ. You understand? Because understand that Mary never went against that. And she admits that Jesus Christ is born without a father of a human being. You understand? Because now, no human being in terms of man created Jesus Christ. And Mary agrees with that in the Bible. You understand? So realize that's how I see God right there. I see God like that. I understand that no matter what, that God went to the Egypt in terms of all the Egyptian qualities over there and the nice beautiful Egypt playground and sweep the world over there and understand that many people died, and so did the Egypt Pharaoh's son that God took away. Or as God took the Egypt's Pharaoh's son. You understand? Because why? Because God wants to prove that God's real. You understand? Or as God went into Egypt palace over there where the Egyptian king is and took away Egyptian son. You understand? In terms of the Pharaoh's son. And took away many people from that city and killed them all. In terms of God took away their life, because guess what? Or as it's in the story of the Bible. But understand either way, that I understand that no matter what, I must believe in that, because I understand that's honest. I understand that words never lie. Or else that's another way that I see God. I understand that anybody who's against God is what? Or else they don't have no life. Or else they have no life today. But understand this. Understand that when I live my life much more freely, I understand that I always have something to say, always have something to do every single day. I understand that's why I'm more free than anything in the world. I understand that's why I have much more clarity and peace all the time, because I understand my I. I understand the principle of I. I understand that many people, when they look at me, are motivating I. You understand? Or else that everybody is motivating I today, because nobody is against I. Or else nobody is coming to kill I today. You understand? Because what is I? Or else I is my name. I go by the name of I. Because I understand that everything that's happening today is because of I. I understand that no matter what, when you have two politics in terms of parties, and you have two parties, or there's one party is against the other party, isn't it? Or else why do you have to go against your husband? I mean, why is that? Or else, because why? I mean, that's how the politics are doing it. I mean, why do you have to go against your parents for? I mean, why is it Labour versus Liberal? I mean, why is it Labour versus Liberal? I mean, why? Because it's not meant to be that way. You have to understand, it's not meant to be Labour versus Liberal. I need you to understand it's meant to be Liberal and Labour together as one and not as two, because anything that's two is trying to rob you of your I. Understand? So realize to never fall for the politics, because the politics doesn't work today. Whereas what works is I. I works. Understand? So realize that if I'm against you, I'm never against you. Understand? Because we are one. But politics wants us to be against each other. Understand? Because that's Liberals versus Labour. I mean, why is it you against me for? Whereas now you have to understand that it's really, that is called competition, and I'm not competing with you. I'm one with you. I'm with you. But the politics system today wants people to go against other people, and then when people are going against other people, that creates competition with other people. And when it's competition against other people, otherwise there are winners and losers. And now when there are winners and losers in life, otherwise one team is going to be number one, and another team is going to be number two. And that is what you see the world in terms of 2020 today, where half the world is number two and half the world is number one. I am also number one, but I am more than half the world. You understand? I'm something more. But understand that many aspects of life, in terms of 99% of the people today, are number two in their life. You have to understand that it's because of the system of the governments and what people are creating today to pin you down. But understand they can never pin you down with their systems. You have to understand that if they make you go work a 9 to 5 job, you still have your eye, don't you? I mean, how can they cut your eye out? I mean, they cannot cut your eye out. You have to understand that what's important every single day is understand that you go work for what you do. But understand your eye. I mean, they cannot make you die. I mean, they cannot take away your eye. I mean, I realize nobody has power over you in life. I realize even if they try to make you work a 9 to 5, you have to understand that they have no power over you. I mean, they have no power over your life. So understand to stop giving them power by understanding your eye. Understand that when you have no eye, you also then give them your power. Otherwise now, if they're pinning you down and saying, you must work like everybody else and do what everybody else does, I mean, you say, I'm not everybody else. I'm I. I am not you. I am I. I'm not anybody else over here except I. You understand? You are not me, but you're I as well. You are just like I, because everybody has an I today. So that's the only definition of success, which is I. I understand that if you have a question today, it's because of I. I need a question today. I need to love I today. I understand that if you love anybody, you have to love I first. You have to love I, because I is something that you speak about all day long. You have to understand that when I talk all day long, I speak my I in 10. I understand that when I talk all the time, I'm always speaking much more and greater than yesterday. I understand that when I ask a question, I start with my I first. I start with the you first. I start with the question first. You, sir, you're able to give me what you have. I can ask a question. I understand you, sir. I just came to ask you a question. Do you understand how to get that? I understand I can start with the question too. You understand? So that's communication. But anything else is ego. Otherwise, anything else is number 2. So never fall in a number 2 category of your life. And understand that this world is a facade. Because guess what? Otherwise, it's not a facade if you have your eye. I understand it can be both ways. I understand that when people are not living their life to the fullest, I understand that there is another life. You understand? Otherwise, it's called I. I understand that the world without I is a road where many zombies today are walking, in terms of people, in terms of divine beings who don't understand themselves. I can see it right now. I can see many people walking today and around I, although they don't have their own I. I realize that they're not doing much more work than I today. I have much more to give than they do. You have to understand that when you go and compare who done more work than Jesus Christ today, you understand Jesus Christ done the most work today. But in 33 years time, I have more work done than Jesus Christ. I promise you, because I know my I. I know the I. You understand? I know my I. So I just lead the I, always. I'm doing more work than everybody else today because I have my I. I can see it. I'm very confident in my I. I understand that no matter what, that many people, in terms of divine beings, are going to see the truth in this video. I understand that either way, I'm always making sure I develop myself. I'm always making sure that either way, I'm always doing much greater. Because I understand that's what's important. I understand it's called greatness. I understand it's making sure that we go and believe more in the Bible of Jesus Christ. Because that's information. You have to believe in information. So the more you believe in information, the greater you are. You have to believe more in information. I mean, you don't just believe in information. You just believe more in information. Because when you have more of information to believe in, otherwise that the truth will set you free. You understand? Because information is a truth. And information is a parable. And the book of God, in terms of the Bible of Jesus Christ, is a parable. I mean, your face is a parable. I mean, those shoes you're wearing today is a parable. I promise you, the glasses you're wearing is a parable. I promise you, everything is a parable. I mean, everything is a word. And the word is I. I mean, you're wearing I today. You understand? I mean, everything that you have in life, you have I. I have everything that you have in life already. I understand that no matter what, that maybe you have more than I. But understand that no matter what, I have I. And that's the most. I mean, there's nothing greater than I. Understand? So what is more in life? Whereas what is more is understand that you never ask anything other than ask more questions. So understand to ask more questions all the time, but understand that what is more today is making sure that you're more brilliant and understanding more information than ever before. I understand that when you go and really preach the Bible or anything in life, you're preaching information. You're preaching yourself. So the more you can dig into the answers of life, you will understand there is one answer of life, and it's called I. In terms of there's only one answer of life, and it's actually I. Understand? And I is everything. I is right now. Understand? So have your I in place, and you understand why it's so easy to distinguish yourself as a greatness type of individual. Understand? So I'm always making sure I understand my I. I'm so confident. I don't need somebody who's 62. I don't need anybody who's 62 years of age to teach me how to live my life. Understand? And even though they double my lifetime. Understand? But guess what? But guess what? I understand my I is much more than their I. So it means I'm living more than them. Understand? Because I see many fat individuals at 80 years of age. And guess what? I mean, are they going to teach me how to lose weight? I realize no. Understand? So guess what? I'm already removing everything that I need. But all I need is I. Understand? I understand that all I ever need is I. I understand that when I communicate, or else there's no failure in communication. Because I understand that my communication is key to my life. And as long as I come back to the I, or else I always win. I understand that when I go back to the I, communicate, I have it all. I have everything. I'm never poor when I have my I. I understand I never lack my past tense theory. I never lack the future. I never lack anything because I have I. Otherwise now, anybody who doesn't have I today is one that's lacking everything. I mean, they're lacking themselves, or else they're lacking a woman, or else they're lacking a man, or else they're lacking a cheeseburger. I mean, they're lacking a Microsoft page, or else they're lacking the towel. I mean, they're lacking the star. I mean, they're lacking air. I mean, they're lacking everything. I mean, stop lacking. So have your I, and you understand why you never lack in the first place. I am more important than the air. I'm more important than that. I'm more important than you. I'm more important than everything. I don't need a cheeseburger. I don't need anything other than I. I mean, that's the best discipline in the world. To just understand that. I don't need to go where they're going. I mean, who cares if they have the woman? I have I. I have my I. I don't care if they have a woman. I have I. I is everything. I is more than the woman. Understand? So I go where I need to go. I go do what I need to do. I don't care that they're having sex with women that are so beautiful. I have I. I is more important than the woman. I is more important than the man. I is more important than everything. You understand? I mean, don't find yourself lacking anything. So understand I. I is more important than what you're lacking. Understand? Whereas now when I go I principle every single day, understand that's why I go back to the I daily. I understand I never lack anything when I have my I. I understand that no matter what, that even my communication skills are getting better because I understand my I. I understand the I principle. I understand that when I go speak my I speak the I then. I can speak the you. I can speak the question as well. You must understand that no matter what, I just started my nice beautiful sentence with you. Do you understand? I ask the question now. You understand? I just want to ask the question. I understand I just go to the present moments with my I. I understand that's how I communicate, and that's the best way of communication today, and it's called being the present moments with your I. I realize that this moment is defined by one word in the Bible and the alphabet. I realize it's called I. I is everything. I understand that the first number of life is what? I understand it's I. I is one. You understand? There's only one I in life. I mean, there's only one letter in terms of life that is I. I understand that either way, you must understand that information does not lie. I mean, information does not lie. You have to understand that information is always leading you greater. As long as you're learning much more and more and more, you always understand that information will lead you into a greater way of life. You have to learn more though. You have to put your heart into it. You have to understand you really absorb the information with your heart. I mean, absorb everything around you. I mean, absorb as much as you can. And look at people in the eyes in terms of the I. I mean, everything that you have today is I. You have I today. I don't care how you look. I understand you have I today. You understand? I mean, understand that everybody has a different look. But all you have today is your I. I mean, understand, sir, that you may be lacking. Or that understand that you have your I. I mean, I is more than what you lack. I is everything. Understand I is richness. I is something very powerful. Understand that if you want to be a billionaire today, I mean, it's called I. I love you. I mean, I don't care how you look today. You have I. You can say I love you. I. You can have everything. You can have everything with I. I is very perfect. I is very perfect. I is something tremendous. I for an idea. I understand that nobody here is lacking anything. I don't care how you look. You're not lacking because you have your I. Rosh, it's so simple. You're not lacking. You're very perfect. You're very flawless. You have so many flaws today as well. Or else that either way, I understand that you have I. You have to understand that everybody's flawless. I have flaws. I have perfection. I have no perfection either. I have nothing except I. I mean what? I have nothing except I. I only have my I. I love you. I have nothing else except I. I understand that when I have my I, or else that's all I have. I have I. I is everything. You understand? Or else that's my $1 billion. Or else that's my plastic money. Or else that's something in life. Or else that's the outside world. I is the outside world. I is everything. I am not a killer. I understand that I can never kill. I can never kill anything. I understand that if you understand that communication also understands that you can never die and you can never kill anything when you have your I. Alright, now anybody that doesn't have an I and that doesn't use the I language in life goes and kills people and hurts the world. And you have to understand that when they went to kill Jesus, I mean, how are they supposed to kill Jesus? I mean, how are they meant to kill Jesus? I mean, they cannot kill Jesus. Because how can you rip my I love you from I? I mean, how can you rip my I from my socket? You can never rip my I. You can never kill me. I mean, they went and bashed Jesus Christ. I mean, they bashed him. You understand? And guess what? Or else Jesus is just I. I mean, Jesus is still alive, isn't he? I mean, why would you bash him in the first place? I mean, why were you whipping him so much? I mean, why? I mean, they're lacking their I in the first place. I understand that Jesus was never lacking his I. I understand Jesus always has the I, all the way. And then what happened? Or else Jesus didn't even die in front of them. You understand me? Or else Jesus passed away without them. You understand? I can never pass away. I can never pass away. I mean, how can I pass away? I mean, the I can never even pass away. I speaks forever. You can never destroy I. You can never destroy information. I mean, how can information pass away? You can never destroy information. You can never destroy silence. I mean, how can you destroy silence? You can never destroy it because why? I mean, there's God. I mean, there's eternal life. I mean, there's I mean, there's something very powerful around us. You understand? I realize there's silence in the world. I mean, how can you grab and kill silence? You can never kill silence because what is silence? I is silence. I. You can never kill I either. I mean, go and create a word I, and then go and start stabbing the I. I mean, how can you stab the I? I mean, how can you kill the I? You can never kill the I. You understand? I mean, you can burn it. You can burn the I. I mean, go and write another one. I mean, get yourself a paper and write I realize you write the letter I, and then go and burn it. I mean, where is it now? Or is it gone? I mean, just go and write another one now. You go get yourself another I. I mean, go get yourself another paper and write another word, I, and try to burn it again, and then just repeat the process. You can never destroy the I. You can never destroy it. I mean, that I is silence. I mean, that I is the breathing of this life, which is the air that you breathe. You can never destroy air. You can never destroy the outside world. I mean, if I kick this, if I kick it to oblivion, I mean, it's not going to destroy it. I mean, if I try to punch this tile, I can never destroy the tile. I mean, that tile will go into a rock, and that rock will penetrate, and it will start to dissipate, and it will go into dust. And then I'll start punching the dust. I'll start punching the dust as much as I can. I mean, how can I destroy the dust? You can never destroy the dust either. You cannot destroy anything in the outside world, so never try to do it. I mean, never try to kill anything in the outside world, and never try to destroy the outside world, because nothing can be touched in this world. You cannot touch me, you cannot touch I. You cannot touch I, because I is more than me. You cannot understand anything other than I in life. I is the most important and gracious way to live. You understand? I is the most fluent. I is the most of everything. I is the past. I is the future. I is now. You understand? I is the 3 pillars of life. I understand I is the 50th pillar of life. I mean, what is that? I mean, it's called I. Understand I principle. Understand that I is your guide. I is something that really makes you feel throughout life. So when you're feeling throughout life, you understand I intense. You understand that's why I can communicate and communicate and communicate, because I stick to the I language. I stick to the I language, I stick to my I never cut the I out. But if I never use an I in my words today, or if I don't use the letter I today, or else it means I come and kill you straight away. Understand? Because that's what they did to Jesus. Understand? Or they go and kill Jesus straight away. Because why? Or I mean, where's the eye? I mean, Jesus says, don't cut the eye out, because that way you'll never kill Jesus. Understand? So that's what they did with Jesus Christ. But guess what? Jesus Christ died slowly on the cross. And they're sleeping while Jesus died. Understand? But Jesus is alive today with the eye. Or is the eye still here? Understand? Eye is still here through Jesus. Understand? So realize either way that you connect the dots together through eye and understand that the Bible today is very important. You have to understand that it's called eye. Or as Jesus talks about in the Bible, don't cut your eye out. But understand this. Understand that the wisdom alive in terms of the Bible is still living on. Or as the silence is always living on, isn't it? Or as the breathing of your life in terms of the air that you breathe is always living on. Eye is always living on. You can never kill eye. You can never kill it. You can pass away from the world. Or as now, eventually, there may come a time where I may have to pass away. I may have to get weaker. I may have to get weaker. I may have to have less energy in my life. I understand that my skin is going to change very soon as well. Or else that I may have some white hair coming out. I may have some white hair. So realize this, that when I turn 100 years of age, I understand I may be weaker than the individual I am today. I understand my cells are going to change, as Dr. Wayne Dyer says. I understand that my hair, or else my hair is going to look different. I'll look different. Or else my beard is going to look different. Or else everything is going to look different, because we're always changing. Or else we're always progressing in a different manner. I understand though that my life eventually has to pass away, or does it really? Or else that I can call and say, yes, I can pass away, but I never have to pass away, do I? I have a choice to pass away from this life or not. I have a choice. I can live to 300 years of age in this lifetime. I can live to 150,000 years. I can be alive today still. I never have to pass away. I can be doing this video content for the next 50 million years right here. I can do it. I believe in I believe I can do it. Understand? Because guess what? You don't have to pass away if you don't want to. You don't have to. Or else God gave you a choice. Or else God gave you a choice to live your life for as long as you want. I mean, for as long as you want, you can live your life here. You don't have to die at 80 years. You don't have to die at 80 years of age. You don't have to die at 160. You can live on to be 500 years of age. You can honestly live to that point. You have to understand, you can live more than Noah. In a sense, so either way, choose what you want to do. But understand that the signals will come. You understand? Or the signals will come. Do you want to pass away today? Do you want to pass today? Do you want to pass away? Do you want to get weaker? You say, no. I never get weaker. I get stronger. I get faster. I adapt quicker. I do something different. You understand? You find a new way to live your life. Whereas other people, you may be alive still, and then your son and daughter may pass away, and you're still alive. You're the father of your son and daughter, and they passed away before you. I realize you're still alive, but they left kids here. I realize your granddaughter and your grandkids are here. But your son and daughter passed away before you. I realize it can happen. But understand either way that you have your eye. I understand either way. You can adopt kids and make them your disciples today. I realize that Jesus only has his own disciples because understand this, that they can be with you for your whole life. They can follow you around all the time. Whereas now when you go and adopt 15 kids and you start teaching them how to live life, you understand that they're your disciples. You understand? Whereas just the way Jesus has disciples and adopts kids. Jesus went and adopted 12 disciples, which are his kids, and teaches the kids everything. And said, because we're all babies, whereas everybody's a baby today, or to understand that anybody who wants to make their legacy great today has to stick with the I. The I is a principle. Whereas now I can speak past tense theory, I can speak future tense and future orientation, and also past orientation and the present moment awareness and present moment abilities and present moment actions. I can do it all with my I. I never have to get lost because my I is my communication. I understand when I stick to the I go to the present moment awareness and I teach you directly from that source, which is I intention, I for an idea, I everything, I is the best word. I is everything. What's the first letter of the dictionary? I. What's the first letter of the alphabet? I. The world starts with I, and it doesn't start with A, B, C. Or is that the world doesn't start with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I understand that the world starts with I first. I first. Or it's not A first. I mean, who's A? I don't know who A is. I know I though. I know I. I know I. I know when I speak my I have everything. I speak the I intent. I go I all the time. You understand? So when I go and sing the alphabet, I go I, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But I say the I first because I starts first. I understand just because they made the alphabet A, B, C first, or else that's not my alphabet. Or else that is not how I do life. I do the alphabet by I first. You understand? I understand that when I go and live my life to the fullest, I understand that's why I'm always public speaking, because I can. I can do it. You can do it. I mean, your son can do it. Your daughter can do it. I mean, your children can do it. I mean, your grandkids can do it. I mean, anybody can do it. You understand? I mean, anybody can do anything in life. You can do it. I can do it. Understand that life can do it. Understand that you must also understand to get up and do it. Otherwise, it's very easy. Understand you just have to speak your I. You have to speak something that you believe in, which is your I. You have to believe in your I. You have to believe in the I principle. You have to understand that when you're speaking, connecting words, you're doing a better job than yesterday. You're doing something much greater. You understand? Because understand this. Understand that your I is everything. Understand that when you understand this is right now, you understand that's why I'm free. I'm free because of my I. I have my I intent. I have my I convincing method that says I must always be proactive. I must understand my I intent. I must understand to go where my I is daily, and I'll teach your kids and you for generations to come. You understand? I'll teach you because I have knowledge to teach you. I have something to teach you. So if you wish to become a public speaker like I today, you understand why you have to follow me? You have to follow my I. You have to follow how I can teach you. Because I have full of teachings based on life, so I can go motivate you to go and be greater. So if you're interested in my life, I mean, just make sure you understand your life. And you understand to go and follow me because I have something beautiful to say. I understand that anybody who's interested in life has an I intent. I understand they go and stick to the I because everything is interesting today. I understand that when everything's interesting today, I understand I go with my I. I understand that you must be interesting much more to understand why privileges happen in the moment. So when that happens, I realize the I is very simple. I understand the I is something that you teach daily and daily for generations. Otherwise, that's all you have to teach. And that's all that I'm transcribing here with the Bible. I'm doing the Bible's work, and the Bible's work is my work. Otherwise, anything that's my work today is my I work. Otherwise, I work is the Bible work. Otherwise, now, when I work the Bible. I work I the most. And that's what the Bible teaches, which is thyself, and to love thyself. And that's why I'm transcribing everything from the Bible into loving thyself with I. Understand? Because Jesus says, don't cut your eye out. Understand? That's why, if you want to learn, you have to be microscopic about your nice, beautiful decency to understand that the I is how you learn. I. Whereas now, if you understand to learn something, you have to look at the smallest details of life, and you'll find the I. I promise you, you'll find the I in the smallest detail of life, and you understand where you will know yourself. Or as that I is what you increase. Or as that I is something that you keep speaking over and over in your video. And that's what makes you confident. Or as that's what really helps you to develop. Or as when you journal it down, you also increase it. You increase your I through your journal. You write it down as much as you can. You understand that's going to boost your communication skills. And then you realize to keep coming back to the I in your communication skills. I now understand that I'm always coming back to the I when I communicate. Because I is my guidepost. I understand that when I relate any type of word in my life, I relate it to the I. I understand that either way, I have over the next 73 years and more to teach you I and how to really speak it. Understand? Because over the next 73 years, I'll be speaking I more. Understand? Because that's how I speak. I speak it through my life. I speak something very interesting. I understand when I speak, I understand that's how I really lead. I lead through I intent. I lead through I peacefully. I understand when I'm peaceful, I have to learn my vocabulary too. I have to go and read some synonym words. I understand I was watching Star Trek recently. I understand that I grew up watching a bit of it, and then I finally finished the whole episode of the seasons, which are 7 seasons in 2020. But guess what? I understand that 7 years feels like a lifetime. I understand that either way, it's a lifetime. I understand that 1 year of your lifetime is a long time. I understand that 1 day is a long time. I mean, it's a long time to learn. You can learn in this lifetime for as long as you love. But just make sure you're just increasing people's hearts Whereas now when you're increasing people's hearts, you understand to increase their I. Increase their love of thyself. Understand? That's why I always am privileged much more to go and communicate in a different manner all the time, but I keep coming back to the IUQ rule. I keep coming back to the U in action and the I factor and also the question mark. I understand I keep asking questions. I understand that's what communication skills is. But when I go into my I understand who I am. I understand that's why I can always communicate daily. I can do it for as long as I like. I can do it for as long as I love. I understand either way, I'm always making a difference. Are you making a difference today? You have to understand you have to make a better difference. Because a better difference is a better way. Understand? So understand every single day that if the answer is yes, or else the answer is really no. Or as if you say yes, or else it's really no that you're saying. Or else you have to understand, you go and say I say yes. I say yes. Or else now it's a yes. Or else when you have I before the yes, you understand why it's a yes. Or else if you just say yes, or else it's a no then. Or else if you say no, or else then it's a yes. You understand? Because yes and no don't work together. Or else what works with the yes and no is the I. I say yes. I say no to this. When they say, are you a yes or no? You say, I say yes. I say yes. I say no. I'm always a yes. I say yes to myself in I. You understand? So realize yes is better than no. I'd rather say yes to you than no to you. I'd rather allow you to do what you want to do than say no, you must not do that. I'd rather open the gates than close the gates. Or else if you ask me, can you do this? I'll say yes. You can go and do it. I'll never say no to you. You understand? Or else if you ask me, can I do it, please? I'll never say no. I'll say yes. You have to go do it. You understand? So every single day, I understand that's why I'm I. I understand, although I don't just say yes or no. Or else if you ask me a question, yes or no, I say yes. I say no. Or else now, if you ask me to kill myself, I'll say no. I say no. I'll never kill myself. You understand? Or else now, if you ask me a question that's just yes or no, and you say you must say yes or no, I say yes. I say no. You get it? Because I don't say just yes or no. I say I before the yes. I say I before the no. I say no. I say yes. You don't answer yes or no. You answer I, yes, I, no. I, yes, I, no. But I am a yes all the time. I give you a yes all the time with what you want. But I understand how to make common sense of my life too. If you ask me to jump off the harbour bridge, I say no. Or else if you ask me to help you, I say yes. Come here. You understand? Or else that's how I really live life. I live it in the moments. I live it in my eye. I understand when I look at my eye principle, I look in the eye. I understand to grow you. I understand to feed you. I understand to give you some nice, beautiful courage. I understand to give you some nice, beautiful empathy and skills and requirements that you need every single day. Because that's what I need every single day, which is I. I is what I need. I don't need you. I don't need your family. I just need I. I is everything. I is everything. You just don't need anything else but your I. I realize that you don't even need your kids. You don't need your kids. You don't need your brother. You don't need your sister. You just need I. You just need your I. You have to say I love you. You need your I principle. You don't need anything else but you in life. You just need yourself. You don't need your wife. You don't need your kids. You just need yourself. You don't need anything else but you, sir. You just need yourself. You don't need your kids, mate. You don't need your kids. You just need yourself. Understand? So realize, either way, you don't need your brother. You need you. You don't need your sister. You don't need a girlfriend. You need you. You don't need money. You need you. You don't need plastic money. You need you. You are more worth it. Understand? You don't need a beard. You need you. Understand? You don't need anything in this life except you. So realize that every single day. The more kids you have, or else if you're not teaching them the Jesus Christ Bible, you have to understand that you're just wasting their time. You understand? You're wasting your time there. Make sure if you're having kids, if you're walking around with 50 kids, just make sure you're teaching them something. You understand? Because that's what you need every single day, or else it's called you. You need you. Or else that's part of the IUQ rule. IUQ rule. You understand? Or else I is first. iPhone. Or else I love the iPhone because why? I becomes before the phone. iPhone. I don't like the word Samsung, but I say I Samsung. I Samsung. I love iSamsung. I can say iSamsung all day long because I is first. Or else iPhone. I love iPhone. I don't like phones. I love iPhone. I love the I first. I go for the I principle. I love everything though. I love everything. I just make sure to use my eye. I make sure to go where my eye direction is. I understand when I look at people in the eye, I make sure to communicate. I make sure to give you my look, which is I. I understand that's why I lead. I lead through grace. I lead through courage. I lead through making sure that people understand the I factor. I understand when I go to the I can always go and elaborate much more about my horizon, which is I. I is everything. I mean, any kind of question you have today, you answer it with the I every single day. I mean, that's all you ever need. You just have to make sure that you're always responding in a different way and have a different conclusion to your life, which is I. I mean, the world starts with I and ends with I. You understand? So when you're starting off life, I mean, you must start with I first. You must understand when I speak every single sentence, I speak it I first. I first. I first. I speak it again, I first. I speak it again, I first. I understand I always start with my I. Whereas now I can start with the you. You must understand that you are more important than her. You must be understanding that you are more important than him. You must understand that you are more important than your hair. You are more important than what you look like today. Because you have I. You have I today? Whereas everybody here is different weight classes and different looks and everything, but we're all unique. Why? Whereas we have I. Whereas everybody has an I principle today. Whereas everybody has one reason today. I. I is everything. I understand that no matter what, I never lack. I never lacks. I mean, the word I mean, you write it on the nice, beautiful screen for yourself, and you have a word I here. I mean, does it lack? I mean, it never lacks, does it? I mean, that nice, beautiful I word doesn't lack. I mean, what's the first letter of the alphabet? I. I mean, when you understand to go and sing this ABC, you sing it I, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I first. Because life starts with I first and not A. I don't know what A is. I know I though. I know I. So when I know the I know who I am now. Because Jesus says, don't cut your eye out. Whereas Jesus didn't say, don't cut your A out. I mean, what is A? I mean, don't cut your eye out. You have to understand. I understand every single day I'm much more important than yesterday because I have my eye. I have something to say. I have every single day, I understand to go and look at my eye principle and I go and communicate from that eye perspective. I understand that there's many directions in the eye. I understand that if I put the I word on the floor and I start stepping on the I, or else you can never kill it. I mean, how can you kill the I? You can never kill. So I can scrunch it up and then I can draw a new one. I mean, it's unlimited, isn't it? Or else it's very perfect. So I see many people who are overweight and or else they're obese and whatever. Or else although understand that they have an I. I mean, anybody who can say I love you today is perfect. Because you don't say love you, you say I love you. Or else I comes first. Or else now everybody can say I love you, so that means everybody's perfect because the I is first. Or else I understand every single day I'm always communicating. You can always follow me on Instagram, you can always follow me on YouTube. I can teach your kids for generations. I understand I'm always transcribing the Bible in a different way. I'm always doing something different. But I understand that every single day you must be what? I mean, what must you be in life? You must be I. You must say I always. When you understand that many people are saying they must go for somebody else or they believe somebody else is more important, you have to understand that I is much more important than them. You have to understand I is much more in integrity, I is an idea. So understand every single day I'm always different in my communication skills. I'm always doing something different. I love you anyway, sir. I love you anyway. I thank you very much. I thank you. I thank you. I love you. I just make sure that I never touch other people because Jesus says, thou shalt not kill anybody. I never touch you, but I love you. I love you. I thank you very much. All right, every single day, I understand that's why I'm always much greater. I'm always making sure there's always much more freedom. Or else anything that's much more freedom today is always persisting in what? I mean, what are you persisting in today, sir? You must be persisting in I. I is everything. You must persist with I. You must understand that anything that's I never dies. I understand that when I have my I today, I understand that's why I speak. I realize that's why I get up on the nice beautiful pathway here. I have a nice beautiful star growing. I understand I have everything when I have my I. I understand that no matter what, I never lack a module in my life. I never lack the Word of God because the Word of God is I. I understand that when the God puts of life, in terms of life sequencing and modules together to help your life, or as the God of life wants you to understand I. I understand every single day, I understand what the Bible means today. I is what it means. I is everything. And that's what I'm transcribing today, and it's so simple. I mean, it's very simple, but imagine the world today. You understand that the world today is so much better than before. I was very fat recently. I was very fat. I was overweight. I was a smoker and caffeine drinker. I wake up using a cigarette and a coffee or a caffeine drink, and I have to go to the 9 to 5 too. I never have to work a day of my life ever again because I have my eye. Understand? But eye work is everything. I make sure that I understand that I have no work to do other than my eye. Or else, is working on my eye a work? Or else that's something really natural. I mean, it's not even a work. I mean, I don't even call it a work. I don't even call this work anymore. Or else this is something great. Or else this is something I do. I just do it. Or else it's not even my work anymore. Or else public speaking is not my work. Or else my work is I. Or else now, I understand that when I understand that I go to my eye, I understand that my work is never even I. But I do my eye anyway. I understand my eye is natural. I understand that when I live my life, I go to the I principle anyway. I understand it's just natural to understand that whatever I label my eye with, I understand that's what I am, which is I. I just label I just stick to the I understand that's how I communicate. I understand that words are coming through the left direction and through the right direction. I just stay in the middle direction, which is I. I understand that when the left direction and the right direction comes into the middle of my eye, I understand to come and communicate my eye. I understand that's how I really communicate. Or as words are coming from the left signal, or as words are coming from the right signal. I understand that I is always first. I realize now I can say anything under the blue stars as long as I put my eye first. I understand when I put my eye first, I realize that no matter what kind of words that are coming in terms of life that are flying at me, I understand I put my eye first and I process it through my eye and I say it through a video. I understand I have an idea. I have another idea. I have an idea. I have another idea. Although guess what? Although guess what? I understand either way I put my eye first. I understand that's how I talk. I talk with my eye first. I understand when I switch over from my eye, I say you. I go you then. You must understand that what you have today in your hand, sir, is something that's going to improve you every single day. You have to understand that what you're drinking today, you have to understand its nutrients. But understand what kind of nutrients that is. I mean, go and learn it. I mean, make sure you understand that you can always switch to the you and speak with the you. I realize that's called I-U. And then the question, I mean, what are you actually eating? I mean, that's the IUQ rule. I use the IUQ rule, I made it up. I made up this IUQ rule, but it's my nice, beautiful module to talk language. You understand? I talk language with 3 letters in terms of life, which are I, U, and Q. And now when I speak with the Q, I ask questions. Or that's a short. Or a question is a short for the Q. Although I'm never short, I'm something long. I'm something great. I understand I can be whatever I want. I can be small too. I mean, just because I'm small, I mean, doesn't mean anything else is bigger than me. Whereas I is very small, isn't it? I mean, the word I mean, I draw a little eye here. I mean, that's the smallest detail in the world. I step on the eye and you'll never kill the eye. You can never kill it. You can never kill that small detail. I mean, that's something microscopic. You understand? You see that little eye here? I'll draw a little eye here. I mean, that's what you learn on. You learn on the little eye. You put your microscope on it. You say, I love you. I love you. You understand? That's that's what is something that never dies. I draw a little eye. I draw a little eye here. I put a little eye. I mean, come here. I mean, where is the eye? I mean, where? I'm speaking the eye right now. I love you. I love you. I love you. I mean, how can I kill the eye? I can never kill the eye. I draw the eye again. I draw the eye again. I step on it again. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. You can never destroy the eye. You can never destroy something so small. Because small aspects of life is also the eye. Understand? I mean, large aspects of life is the eye too. I mean, the eye, I mean, let's draw a bigger eye then. I mean, how can we draw a bigger eye here? I mean, go get me a texture that's so big that I can draw a nice, beautiful eye all the way here. I mean, I draw a big eye. And let's try to step on it. Eye. I mean, you can never destroy it. I mean, eye is so big and eye is so small at the same time. Eye is everything. Understand? So either way, I understand that I'm a microscope for my eye. I look for the eye always. Or when I get the binoculars out, I look at the mountain of my eye. And see, I look at the distance of the sunset, or I'm just looking at my eye first. I understand? I don't care what's happening out there. I care about eye first. Understand that? the word outside of me is very beautiful in I only. Understand that without an I, or I can never be grateful. I can only be grateful when I live, or I can only be grateful when I'm living my life to the fullest. Understand that's how I really live life. I live life to the fullest and making sure that whatever's happening around me is much better than yesterday. I understand that's how I always do life. I do it with I. I do it with the I intent. I understand I grow my I daily. I understand that when I live my life to the fullest every single day, I go I. I understand that's how I start my sentence every single day. I understand that's how I really go and find the nice beautiful words to say daily, but I never get embarrassed about my I. I can never be embarrassed about how I speak. I understand that life works with the I only. I understand that when you speak with the you in action, you understand that you can always switch it together and use something different. You can say, no matter what, that you're doing life great when you understand you're learning. But when you learn, you can mix the I and you together, and now we have some nice, beautiful, powerful communication more. You understand? Because that way I understand now I can start with my I or you in every single sentence. I can start either way. I can start with the I in the sentence or the you. You must understand that no matter what, that the I is very important. I understand either way that you understand that the I is very important. I started the I and you there. Although I can start the question too, and the question is the third level in one, and that's the Holy Trinity in one. You understand? I mean, what is a Trinity in life? Otherwise it's I. Otherwise everything is I. So when I speak differently all the time. I'm always doing something differently and differently and differently, because I understand when I go and adapt, I use some repetition, I use some alliteration, I use some similes, I relate the cousins together every single day. I understand that's why I'm important. I understand that's why I'm going always above and beyond to understand my life. I have to understand who I am. I have to understand my I. I for insect, I for life, I for idea, I for you, I for the rubbish bin, I for the hat, I for this gentleman here. I understand that when I live my life, I understand that my microphone over here. I understand my microphone over here is dodging me out. Either way, I understand that no matter what, I'm always doing something greater. I understand that's why I'm living life to the fullest. I understand that it's because this little microphone head over here came off. I understand now I I have to connect the nice beautiful plug-in together. Or that's what it was breaking off. Otherwise it was breaking off. But I understand when your microphone is breaking off, you have to connect the nice signal together. You have to connect your microphone head together with its nice beautiful cable, so you understand that you plug it in together with the fuse and it's going to work. You have to understand the fuse of life is you. You must understand that the I is everything in you. You have to understand that when I go and live my life, I'm talking with the you in action and also the I in question right now. I understand that no matter what, I'm always mixing up my communication signals in a different way. I understand that's why it's very important to do so. I understand that when you have a nice, beautiful range of ideas, you give them every single day, you give those ideas, you'll understand why it's so important that you have to understand to public speak and also communicate daily your I, integrity, and understand that is how you really live life. You live life through the moments, you live life making sure that you have spirituality in you every single day, because that's how free you can become. You can become free when you use all of your vocabulary every single day. I mean, just put in one video and just speak intently. You speak with integrity. You speak with an idea. You speak with resource. I mean, what is a resource? I. I is a resource. I is everything. I understand when I go with the I also go with the you. I go with something different. I understand that I go a different way than you today. I go the way of my life. I go live my life in something greater. I understand that I never lack a word. I never lack a soul. I never lack anything that you have. I understand I have everything in my I. I understand that's why I'm always changing my words together and using some different words so I can always go and start with the I, you, and Q rule. Otherwise, that's how I start today. I use the I, you, Q rule. But you can just use the I word, and you can start with the I only and end with the I, and that's how you can communicate. Otherwise, that you can only understand that. Otherwise, it's either you start with the I only and end with the I, or you use the I, you, Q rule and start with the I, you, Q rule and end with the I, you, Q rule. Understand? Whereas now, that's how I communicate. I start my life with the I, U, Q rule. And I also end with the I, U, Q rule. Understand? I can start off with a question. How are you today? Whereas now, I can end with the question. How did you feel about me? And that's that. Whereas I understand, and that's that. Whereas that is actually how it goes, but guess what? Whereas now when you understand to go and put the I before you even say and, you understand better communication. Understand that when I say and, or when I say and how was that, I understand that's how it is. You understand? And that's how it goes. Whereas either way, understand that or after a question mark, you must start with the I or you, or with another question. You must understand that it's a nice, beautiful break in the middle of that question. So after a question mark comes the I, you, Q rule. Understand? So realize that really quickly, and do not start with anything else other than the I, U, Q rule every single day. Understand that's how I really speak. Understand that's how I really do my life. I do it differently all the time. I'm always making sure I'm developing myself one way or another. Understand that either way, I have nice and a beautiful life together. That understand that no matter what, that my nice, beautiful life is always something much more simple, in a way that I'm always looking healthier and feeling pleasurable, in a way that my I speaks loud and clear. I understand when I go and talk all the time differently, I always have something more to say. I have a new idea, have a new way to go, but I make sure to go and give those ideas really quickly so I can go and adapt quicker to my communication skills daily, because you have to be a motivation. You have to be a motivation about your life one way or another. You have to understand that the most important number in life is number 1. You understand? I mean, number 1 rules. I mean, how much plastic money do you want to make in life? You have to make I first. You have to understand I is much more than plastic money. I is everything. I have to make my I first. I have to make the you first. I have to make my questions first. I understand when I say that, or that's why I use the IUQ rule. I understand that's why I understand my worth is much more than plastic money and than anything else in the world. I understand that's why I go and increase my I capacity daily. I understand that's why I go and make sure that I understand that it's not plastic money that makes me happier. I promise you, plastic money does not make me happier. I promise you, my I makes me happier. I promise you, I never lack anything in the outside world. I promise you, pleasure does not make me happier. I promise you, food and drink does not make me happier. I promise you, information makes me happier. I promise you, information, yes. I have to dig into information to understand the Bible first. Or else, if I don't read, or else how would I understand the Bible? I have to read the Bible to understand Jesus Christ's life. You understand me? Because without reading the Bible of Jesus Christ, you'll never understand Jesus Christ then. I mean, how are you going to understand life if you don't understand Jesus Christ? You have to read. You have to read daily something that's really going to be motivational and something that's really going to help you move forward every single day. So how about how about asking yourself questions about life every single day? I mean, understand, how about right now? I mean, how about making sure that your life is much more precious? Whereas now, when you understand this, understand that no matter what, that either way, I start much more greater when I speak much greater. So I speak in a different way all the time, but I look for a nice, beautiful communication method where I understand I have to communicate faster and faster and be aware much more faster. I understand when I do that daily, I understand I always have more to say, I always have much more courage to give, because I understand either way, I'm always changing up my words in a different manner and making sure that everything else is accountable. I understand that's why I'm always making sure I'm much more privileged. I understand that when I look at my eye again, I understand I have more to give. I understand I have more to understand. I understand there's always much more ideas that you can do today. I understand the ideas of your life must be business and making sure that you're always updating the world around you with different qualities of what you do, which is what? Or else it must be I. Or else it must be understanding that I is working right now. I understand everything, or else anything that's understanding life today is understanding I first. I understand that's how I really live life. I live it through I. I live it through I intent. I understand that's how I really talk. I understand when I give you some ideas, I give it to help your life first. I understand I do that to help you first, and that's how I help myself in my I. I understand every single day I've always got something new to do. I've always got something more to give. I always have more courage. I understand I always have something more beautiful. You understand? Or else the beautiful word is I. Today, I understand I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you. I can say it 1 billion times, and the truth always stays the same. You understand? Because every single day, or else the words are different. I understand that when I look at my words now, I understand I change it up a bit. I go into a different zone. I go and make sure that I go improve my communication skills regardless. I'll go and say something that's really going to improve me daily in my I. I understand that's why I go and change up my sequence of my words. I change it up and I make sure it comes off different. because my different wording has to be always much more fluent and much more capable of itself. Understand, when I'm much more capable of life, understand I always use different words daily. I'm always using something more than yesterday. I always understand that a little plastic bag can always help you to be happier. You understand? Whereas either way, I understand that no matter what, I understand I'm always much more pleasurable. I always understand to go the smartest way possible. I understand that instead of carrying 5 bottles on me, I get a little plastic bag, I give 15 cents, and I carry like a man. You understand? I don't carry 5 bottles on me. You get it? I carry more than that. I carry my eye. I understand the eye principle is much more important than anything else. Although I understand that when I live my life in ideas, I always give an idea, I give you an idea, I give you an idea, and you can go away from me. You understand? Because I'm rich. I've got so much richness. I've got so much to give. I don't need you and your wife. I don't need anything that you have. I give you some ideas and just go. I mean, just go away from me then. Instead, I'll just give you some ideas every single day. I don't need what you have. I already have everything. I have everything in the Bible every single day. Or else all the ideas you have, or else I already have it. Or I have every idea that you have today in the Bible. Or else that's that. Or else you have no value for me. You understand? Or else I have all the value in the world already. You understand? But I can give you all that value. I can give you the value all the time. You just can never give me. You understand? I can already give it of myself only. Or else now, you have to understand that either way. Or else if you want to give me some ideas, you feel free. Or else feel free to do so. Understand? But I always have more ideas coming. I'm always creating more ideas, with or without you. I'm always unlimited in terms of my life, with or without you. Understand? So I'm always making sure I'm always unlimiting I in a moment. I'm always speaking much more in present moments, awareness, so that I can understand that either way, I stick to the past and stick to the future in I. I understand that's how I really talk. I understand I can go and motivate myself in different qualities and different methods, or else there's always a different way. I understand that, or else the way of life is I. I understand that's how I go about it. I understand I go and relate every single word in the dictionary for a different word, and I make sure to connect the words together, and I make a little brainstorm, and I make $1 billion idea. I make a big idea with those $1 billion words. And I understand that every single day I'm always talking differently, so that I can understand to help you with something. I understand when I help you every single day, I understand I'm always increasing my I. I'm increasing the individual I am every single day. I'm always talking differently so I can go and motivate I. I have to talk in a way that's going to help I today. I understand when I talk in a different way, I grow. I grow in the different ways. I can grow in the same way too. I can grow my I in the same way. Although I talk differently so that it keeps it interesting. Or else when I talk differently and differently and differently, or else my life becomes more interesting. Or else if I talk in the same way, or else it also becomes more interesting in a different way. I understand either way that I use repetition, and sometimes I do speak in the same way so that I can go and speak in a new way. So you have to go and toss over between the same and new, but make sure you have your I. Understand when you have your IUQ rule ready, you understand that you can go and toss up the same aspects of life and different aspects of life at the same time and different times, and you understand why you're still growing. You grow regardless, you grow and grow in a different way every single time. Because I understand that every single time I'm always growing differently. I'm making sure that every single time I have more ideas to give, because I understand an idea is grateful. You understand? Whereas anything that's grateful is an idea. I understand that when you have an idea, you connect the words together and just make sure that you're growing today. Just make sure you're growing today, and understand that either way that you repeat your words so that you can come off louder. And the louder you are, the better. So be smarter about your words today. I understand that when you understand that daily, you understand why it's so important to do so. You understand why you need to grow yourself either way. You need to understand that every single day you need to have your eye in perspective. You have to understand that if you want to be so much more important than me, you have to do more than I today. You have to do more than me. You have to outdo me in life. You have to outdo my I. You understand? Or else if you want to be more important than Jesus Christ, you have to outdo Jesus Christ. You have to outdo the work. You have to do more than Jesus Christ did. You have to understand that Jesus Christ is still much happier than everybody else except I. Or else Jesus Christ is happier than everybody else except I today. I am happier than Jesus Christ itself. I am happier than Jesus Christ and I'm happier than Jesus Christ and how Jesus Christ lives life. You understand? Because I understand my I. I have more than Jesus Christ today. I have more than Jesus Christ. I do more than Jesus Christ today. I do more. You understand? Because I know my I. But to catch up to Jesus is a different aspect. I need to go 33 years with knowing my I today. I understand that in the next 33 years, I've overtaken Jesus Christ. Or is it that simple? But make sure that every single day you're doing work. You're doing something very simple. You're making sure that every single day you got something more. I understand that when God's lifting you up, God will lift you up now. God will do it for you now. I understand that's the only way to go. I understand that anything that has an I today has a brilliant way to live. I understand that you can always speak your I every single day, and you understand you'll be more confident in doing so every single day. I understand that every single day I'm always rich or better. I understand that no matter what, I'm always something much more. I understand that no matter what you are today, I love you anyway. I understand because I understand I understand either way, I can see what's going on. I can see it every single day that my life is much better. I understand that no matter what, I realize that when you give yourself a pause, I understand that you must keep going really quickly. I understand that's why just make sure that when you understand that when you're talking to yourself, you have to understand that little bit of time goes by. I understand that time is unlimited. I realize there is unlimited time in the planet as long as you have I. Whereas when you have I, you can always never die. You can always live. So make sure you understand that. Understand that every single past tense word that you ever give, you relate it with I. You change your words into an I section and understand every single day that's how you live life. You're living in I, you're living in a different way, you do something differently, you're giving a different idea every single day. You're looking to make sure that you grace the world with I, and you understand why you grow. You grow differently all the time because there's always a different way to grow. I understand because there's always a different way to grow that you always grow more because of it. You grow more because there's always something more to say, or there's always much more ideas to give out. I understand that when you're giving ideas, you're just natural. You're just natural about who you are. You're smiling more, you say I love I, you say everything under the blue stars, that's I only. You understand why I can always never die. I understand I can always live. I always understand I always have more. I'm always much more courageous. I always have much more of an empathy. I always have much more of an empathy type driven aspect of life, which is empathetic type of individuals who understand my I is grace. Whereas I is grace. I is life. I understand when I live my life, I have empathy. I'm empathetic to give you my life. I understand I can never die, or else nobody can kill me. I'm never getting killed. I understand that I'm always in the present. I understand that nothing can kill my I. I'm never afraid of anything anymore. I understand because I have my I. I understand that Jesus never hits I. Or else anything that hits I, you have to understand to go back to I. But understand to never hurt the outside world. Or else Jesus never hurts the outside world. You understand? Or else the outside world can hurt you. Although Jesus says, let them hurt you. Let them hurt you because they can never hurt you in the first place. You can never hurt me even if you bash me. You can never hurt me. You can never kill me even if you try. You can never kill me. You understand? Or else my life is free. I always have a free life. You can never do anything to diminish me in terms of my I. You can never diminish my life. You can never do anything definitive that's other than you. You understand? So stick with the you every single day and understand that you live your life definitely in the I. I is everything. The I here. In terms of I love you, I understand I love you is what I talk about. I understand that's why I'm always much more peaceful. I'm always making sure that everybody else is accountable in a way that they have more communication skills, because you have to do communication skills to improve your communication skills. Do you agree? I understand every single day, you have to understand that every single day you look at people, you give them an idea. You criticize based on the I. Understand how are you doing Jesus work Christ today? How are you doing Jesus Christ work today? Ask yourself. If you're not doing Jesus Christ work, why? Why aren't you doing Jesus Christ work? Because that's the best kind of work. I promise you. Jesus Christ work is the best work. And there's no other work in the planet better than Jesus Christ work. I understand that every single day you have to understand that those who understand Jesus Christ's work are ones who are more important. Or they're more important because they know thyself. I promise you, anybody who loves Jesus Christ also loves I. You understand? Or else if you hate Jesus Christ, you also hate I. So never hate your I. Or else you have to love your I. You have to love yourself. Or else never hurt yourself and others. Or else it's making sure that no matter what, everybody is much more peaceful in life, because peacefulness is grace. And understand this. Or else anything that understands how to really live life understands the moment in I. I is always the language to come back to. Whereas when you have your I today, you always make sure to go and be much more than you are every single day, because that's how you really live life. You live it in the moment, you live it differently, you live it in a peaceful intent, you live it making sure that you're greater. Whereas when you make sure you're greater, you understand I is everything. You understand I leads the world. I make sure that you have everything. I make sure that everything is accounted for. Whereas when I account for you, I understand I do it for I. I understand when I make sure that I have to give you something, I give you my I. I give you my love. Understand? Because I can always give it to you. I can go in the outside world and reach for scraps of pleasure with my I. I understand that I'm much better than the scraps of pleasure now, because I understand that it's never going to hurt I. You understand? Otherwise, nothing can hurt I in my life. You can do anything in the world as long as you have your I. But make sure you understand high energy level. I understand that if you understand that smoking cigarettes takes away your energy. I have been a smoker before for 7 years. I understand that it took away my breath. I understand that it's all a lie. I understand that nothing can destroy the I. Or not even a cigarette can destroy an I. I understand that either way, that high energy levels comes from the nutrients and food you're eating. But it's also where are you developing your time, and where are you giving your time today. You have to understand that your time is very important. So if you drive 40 minutes somewhere, make sure it's for something that you're growing with. You understand? Don't just give away that energy for nothing. Or else anybody who's sitting today is giving their energy towards something. So make sure you're giving it towards yourself the most. Or else if you want to understand how to really have more energy, you have to remove blockages. You have to understand to remove the KFC from your life, and you'll never have to go there. You understand? Because by the time you get to KFC, 1 hour of your life has passed. Is KFC worth 1 hour of your life? I guess not. I realize that anything that's worth time is something that adds time. I realize that anything that adds time, you have to understand to remove anything that's taking away your time. Because time is energy. So I have more energy. Why? I have more energy because of the food I eat. And why is that? Because I stay away from most food. I stay away from most food, ladies and gentlemen. I go where veganism food is only. And now in the veganism section, I stay away from most foods in the veganism food range. I realize, why is that? I realize because I don't have to walk to grab myself mushrooms that are whole mushrooms. I just go grab something else that's much more, and that's going to fill me up with proteins. In terms of plant protein, I make sure that when there's a billion foods out there, I only eat about 15 classes of food. I only go towards that 15 class of food. Understand? So I minimize it, and then I go to Woolworths and I get myself that. Although when I give my time towards something, I make sure I learn from you and your life, and what kind of ideas are you giving, and what kind of ideas do you have in terms of your life. Although I understand that are you really helping your life or not? I understand that are you helping your life or not means are your life sequences really going for you? I understand that no matter what, that your life must be much more pleasant in the moment when you have your I. I understand that's why I grow my I sequence every single day. I understand that no matter what, I'm always much more definitive in my I. I understand that's why I'm always connecting all the words together with my I. So I can always keep coming back to what is most important. I understand that no matter what, I always have much more of my I, because every single word in the dictionary is simplified in terms of I. I understand when I go back to the I again, I understand that no matter what, that even past tense theory cannot damage the I. I understand I is everything. I understand that past tense and future tense is something that always keeps the I alive. Understand? I am always alive through I, and that's how you become present. You become present through the I range. I realize anything. I make sure that I start with my I first. I understand when I do that, I do something different. I do something differently. I make sure to go and make sure to communicate differently so that I can understand how I talk. I understand when I see how I talk, I understand how I actually learn. I talk it differently, and I make sure that I ask questions. I relate anything that's not an I make sure to go and ask a question, or I use the IEQ rule to make sure that I summarize a different way that's really going to help grow I. Understand? Because that's the whole version of life. I grow my questions, I grow my you, I grow my I. I grow you, I grow I grow questions, I grow everything under the blue stars. Understand that's the only way to live life. You live life differently. You make sure that you ask questions about everything, but make sure you're growing intentionally. Because anything that's growing intentionally is like Jesus Christ going to the 12 disciples. I mean, that kind of growth. Because if Jesus doesn't grow intentionally, or else Jesus would never even approach the 12 disciples. You understand? Because in order for the Bible to be here today, or else, and for the work of the Bible to be here today, or else Jesus has to do something to grow. Or else Jesus has to walk around Israel. Or else Jesus has to go walk the path of Jesus Christ. But you have to walk the path of Jesus Christ too. You have to understand that Jesus Christ teaches you that you must love yourself. Or else that's the only Jesus Christ path. Or that everybody's living their own path. Or else everybody has a different path. Or else everybody has a different story. You have to always have your story recognized in a different way. You have to understand that when you're talking differently about yourself all the time, you're going to love yourself differently. Or else when you're recognizing yourself differently, you understand why you recognize yourself now. You'll be present in a moment, and then you'll really understand how you're really going to grow through ideas, because ideas are going to lift you, and they're going to make sure that you have everything you ever need. Understand, when I give you some ideas, I'll feed you the spoon of soup. I'll feed you the spoon of everything. You understand? I'll feed you wisdom. I'll feed you love. I'll feed you everything that you ever need, because wisdom and words get you there. I mean, where is there? I mean, there is here. I mean, anywhere in life that you need to go, I mean, I will get you there. I get you there. IUQ will get you there. But understand this. Understand that I always have to go differently. I always have to go differently in a way to understand that my communication skills must be going in the unknown way. And understand that every single day I must change up my communication to go and lead differently and do differently and be different. I mean, it's the only kind of work there is. Although I can breathe much easier when I speak the IUQ rule today, because I understand that I'm very lucky and privileged to have my IUQ rule. I understand when I speak with the I understand I go in that quality of life where I understand that there's always more to say. I understand there's always more to be. I understand there's always more to see. I understand that when I go and privilege myself in a different way, I understand I always go the new way where I've never been. And that's why I always gain some new ideas from the crowd every single day. I understand I go and do something that I've never done. I understand that's why I go and mature. I mature in a different way, because the same way doesn't get me there. I understand that now. I understand the same way can get you there if you use your eye. I understand the same way can do everything in your life. I understand that as long as you have your eye, you can do it the same way, or you can do it in a new way. You can change it up, but make sure you have your eye, or else the truth always stays the same. You understand? Or else the truth always goes differently too. You understand? Or else the truth is always different. I understand either way that you must also understand that when the truth is different, you understand that the truth can be used differently. You can use the truth differently, but the truth always stays the same also. You can use the truth differently, you can also use it the same. You can use it differently and the same with the truth. You understand? So either way, you're always going to be much more and more and more when you're loving ideas. And when you love ideas, you understand business and quality of life is now. So preaching on the street sometimes, you must understand is the way to go. Or sometimes you have to understand that when you're preaching, you're also communicating in a different way, and you're teaching people and the crowd around you a privilege, which is communication, and which is and which is the IUQ rule. Understand either way, I'm going to teach differently all the time about what it is that I teach, because I teach different methods of communication daily so that I can grow. Whereas when I grow differently every single day, I understand that's why I have much more power, I have more strength, I have more vigor, I have much more of something to say. I understand that's why I'm always growing. I understand that's why I always have much more and more and more. I understand that's why I'm always making sure there is always much more hearts going around. Because when heart goes around, I understand that's why there's more freedom and there's more empathy in class. I understand that's why there's more talents and abilities to give you skills and knowledge of what you need. But you have to do it alone. You have to understand that everybody is alone in the know itself in terms of I. Understand? I have to know I on my own. You have to become aware of your I on your own. I understand I can lead you there. I understand that either way, that as soon as you become wary of your I mean, come and watch me. I mean, come and watch how I really use the I now. You understand? Because that's how greatness is becoming more. Or as greatness becomes more when you start teaching more. And when you start loving more. I mean, or as when you start doing more, you understand why you're great. You understand why you actually have freedom every single day. Because freedom is potential. And when you have more potential, you understand more growth. And more growth is more communication. And understanding that no matter what, you're always connecting the dots. You're making sure those dots are making you worthy. You understand that you have to understand that anything that makes you worthy today is communication. Understand when you communicate, you must look better, you must feel better, you must love better, you must give more, you must love better than before. You must understand to look greater than before every single day. So understand that every single day there's always more courage and ability to love your life, but understand it's for free. Understand everything is free today. Understand life is free. Understand that nobody can extract your I from you. Understand there's always something more to say, and there's always something more to be. But you have to understand to love thyself every single day, and love yourself so much that everybody else loves you. You understand? Or else that's the way it is. Understand it's always that way that you understand to go where your love is. Or else where your love is right now, or else where your love is, I see is in you. Understand that's the only point of recommendation today, is understanding that no matter what, you must be living life to the fullest. Or else it's live life to the fullest or nothing. But make sure every single day that your communication skills is more and more. I realize that's the only point of recommendation today, is making sure that motivation is different, and that motivation is key, and that motivation is courage, and that motivation is making sure that you go and preach something for nothing that's going to help you to grow. Or else that anything that makes you grow is I. I makes you grow the most. Or else now, either way, you must not cut your eye out, as Jesus Christ says. So either way, make sure you have ideas to give that are different. I mean, make sure you expand. I mean, make sure you go and preach something that you've never done. Because that way you're going to extract all the ideas that you have, and you're going to give those ideas, and that way you create more business, and you have more business revenue. And what is business revenue? I is business revenue. I. Whereas now, when you're giving it for free, you understand why you never charge other people for plastic money, because you're not doing it for plastic money. You're doing it for I. You do it for I. I is more than plastic money. And so understand that anybody who realizes that you must be important is you. You must understand that each and every single day, there's always more to say, or there's always more to be. Understand there's always more motivation I can give. Understand either way that I get up in front of people and I do it. I do it daily. I make sure every single day that those people around me are giving I make sure that the people around me are giving me ideas in terms of my I. So when I do that, I make sure to increase people's I, in terms of I increase people's I. You understand? And how do I do that? I understand I teach them through those aspects of life who have actually found out the I. Understand now they can watch I, and I understand that way they can grow. I understand they can grow through my I now. I understand they can really see how the example of using I is. I understand either way, I grow my I anyway. I grow the I today because I understand every single day, I understand that's the most important aspect of life, which is I. I is everything. I understand that's why I make sure to always go different ways. I make sure that I go differently. I speak differently. I understand there's always something more to say. I understand that's why there's more communication skills every single day. Or that's why you're living more. I realize that when you're living more, you must grow more, you must feel more, you must be more blissful. You must understand that anything that's I today is God. I understand I is God. I is making sure that you grow. I understand that's why past tense is knowledge. I realize past tense is fury. I understand anything that's fury is now. I understand that when you're now, you're I. You must be fury in your I. You must understand to go and fight your own battle with the I. You must understand that you battle your I and you grow it. You grow the I daily, but stick to the I, and you understand why you can communicate anyway. You can communicate ideas in different ways. You can find a new idea in every single moment of life. You can understand that content and positive content always comes through the I, or else it comes through questions. Or else the better your questions, or else the better your life. So I understand every single day, or else that's what I do. I understand I go and make sure my questions and ideas and you is always more fulfilling. I understand that when I go and fulfill my life every single day, I always have more to give, I always have much more strength. I'm always making sure I have more peace and courage and determination to live my life daily, because that's how I really live my life. I live it through the now, I live it through my I. But I understand that when I get weak in terms of my body language, I understand it's because I understand I have to eat something, I have to drink something. I understand that either way, I understand that I never have to eat and drink in this lifetime. I never have to eat and drink to live my life. You understand? Because how do I really live? I live through the I. I live through the I every single day. I understand that I is very important. Or else I don't need food and drink to live this lifetime. Understand? Or else that's something that you have to understand. That Jesus went 40 days and 40 nights into the desert with the I. And said, I am much more than food and drink. I am much more than food and drink. You don't need to drink anything. But guess what? I promise you that you get stronger. You get stronger the more you delay food and drink. You don't need to eat. You don't need to eat, drink, and food in this lifetime. You just need I. I is very strong. I understand that no matter what, I understand every single day, I finish up every single day my beautiful communication skills here, because guess what? I'm always starting again. I'm always starting my I again. I understand that once I finish this one, or else my I continues. Or else my I is always continuing regardless of whether I finish or not. I understand that I always have the I privilege today to understand that I is always never dying. I understand that when I die, I understand I never die. I never die. I understand I never have an opportunity to die. I understand that's why there's more freedom and courage and luck today to understand that the strategy of life is I.